Yoshiyuki Sadamoto is one of the founders of the anime studio Gainax, and is the character designer behind major titles like Neon Genesis Evangelion, FLCL, Wolf Children, and the game series .hack. He did much more, but his art style is very reminiscent of the old school manga and anime 90s style we know and love, though there are some little quirks that make him unique. Above all, he is most praised for his basic yet intensely effective character designs. When we break down and analyze Yoshiyuki Sadamoto's art style, it's clear that certain recurring features are at play. Many artists, including Sadamoto himself, have noted that the faces tend to be somewhat similar. Why is that? Despite gender differences, he employs nearly the same traits: big eyes, thin eyebrows, sharp noses, and short mouths. Additionally, large cheeks and low ear positions frequently reoccur. In general, the overall facial structure isn't highly detailed, which quickly leads to a certain repetition. Shinji is a good example of this. Sadamoto designed Shinji to be an average and realistic boy, lacking the typical enthusiasm of robot anime heroes, making him a refraction rather than a reflection of heroism. His final design retained a boyish androgynous look, with a visible forehead and delicate feminine features, inspired by Nadia. However, I do want to note that Sadamoto's adult characters show more variety, especially in men. It's not a simple copy-paste formula, and this repetition is actually a strength in his character design. The anatomy of his characters is also typical of the old school era: tall legs, small body frames, and prominent cheeks. Anatomically, the bodies are somewhat deformed, yet remain within the limits of believability. However, I did notice that he often draws these extremely thin waists that almost seem like they could snap in two at a glance. Not that I am complaining. Another hallmark of Sadamoto's work is his embrace of dynamic poses. His art not only captures a moment in time, but also reveals each character's true personality, the nature of the persona, so to say. I'm actually selling you on the humanity. I find the essence of the character to be the most important. It's evident which characters are more confident and which are more reserved, an aspect showcased in both his individual character designs and overall compositions. In fact, he is often praised for his designs looking simple but being hard to replicate. He noted that design comes from the experience of large projects he tackles, and that he seeks novelty instead of mere copying of other ideas. There was a big change from the time of Honamais and on. The fact is, if I went straight to Nadia, I wouldn't be able to draw her. In the middle there was Gunbuster, and Haruhiko was the main character designer for the series, while I was the sub. I learned a lot on that series. From that experience I was able to draw Nadia. For those who want to learn how to draw effective shadows, Sadamoto is a great artist to study. His work features a well-balanced composition of light and color. I personally love his monochrome images. They have something mysterious about them, and achieving that effect is no small feat. Of course, because he debuted in the 80s, Sadamoto started out working traditionally before switching to digital art. Personally, I'm a little less fond of his color usage, but to each their own. I think my style has changed, but not due to using digital tools. It changed because my hands started to get used to drawing, and also due to my change in hobby. I think that has changed my style. It's true that the facial structures in the manga changed over time, for better or worse. Anyways, Sadamoto has several art books showcasing his work, the most well-known being Der Monde. It features concept art that presents the characters in a different light, along with plenty of stylish artwork of the NGE cast. And I know I've said this before, but I really like the way he draws women. Though, to be fair, a lot of it is pure fan service. But is that really an issue? The female characters are the most fun. The main character Shinji, with his subtle expressions, is the most difficult. That said, Der Monde is just one of his art books. There's even a second volume with even more illustrations and comments. While I was checking out his interviews, he noted that he got inspired by all kinds of mediums. And in the case of manga, he admired artists such as Go Nagai, Matsumoto Reiji, Sakaguchi Hisashi, Katsuhiro Otomo, and Hayao Miyazaki. And I don't know about you, but personally, Sadamoto's art reminds me most of Nobuteru Yuki, the artist behind the vision of Escaflowne and Record of Lodo's War. Nonetheless, Sadamoto created a lot of promotional art for his characters, and I think that's really neat. This man drew a lot of science fiction, as he himself stated that he loves cars, motorcycles, and any other form of mechanical things. Furthermore, he also did fantasy art, and especially a lot of casual promotional art, showing his characters in a new light, such as game covers, poster art, casual kids, typical schoolgirls, beach girls, lolis, fatal fury, weird stuff. He did it all. In an interview, he was asked to give inspiring words to upcoming mangaka. I'd say more than the desire to become a manga artist. Figure out what you would like to say and pay attention to that. Remember that manga is only one medium in which to present your ideas, and put your best effort into it. In this day and age, manga art style is widely accepted, and indie developers, aspiring manga artists, and animators can create some awesome visuals just by learning the basics. This following quote makes me smile because when asked about his formal art training before entering the industry, he simply replied, "Would you call sketching imitations of my favorite artists' works any kind of training?" A golden rule that perfectly captures the spirit of this channel. I'm light novel author GP Vugs, and when I look at 90s styled manga art, I feel a wave of nostalgia. In my eyes, it represents a foundational layer of the old cartoony aesthetics that truly define what manga style is.